Still got to buy the DLC. I think the DLC is like $20, I
Oh,
believe.
okay, so you
Yeah,
do have
you got to
time.
buy them separately.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We are live, my niggas. Okay. Sorry about that.
What I really meant to
This shit is
say
annoying.
was I'm sorry for the way I am.
Did I really just scroll through this whole shit and not see one game I wanted to play, bro?
Bro, I do it all the time. And
God
it's like I
damn.
never I'm telling you, like I turn that thing on and then I scroll through it thinking that something's gonna be there every single time, yo. I turn it on and I
Fucking
scroll, I'm like,
sick.
hopefully there's something here that I want to play. Nothing.
This is
Not a
why this shit's
goddamn
a
thing.
dollar. I'm like, why is this shit $1? They giving it $1 for 3 months? So now I see why. I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah, nothing, bro. I'm
I
telling
mean, some of
you.
these games I'm sure are decent, but it's not like something that's gonna make me want to play my PC or buy an Xbox over playing my PlayStation. Like,
Yeah, like they have some decent games in there, man. Like,
yeah,
the like Final Fantasy 15, they have the Kingdom Hearts franchise.
is
They
that
had
still there?
Red Dead in there for a little bit.
Kingdom Hearts
Huh?
is still there?
I
I
don't
didn't see
know.
it.
I mean it
I
was
think
there. I don't know if
no.
they took it out.
Well, I'm looking at the PC version. That's probably why. That's
Oh,
probably.
the PC version sucks, man. It's worse than the Xbox
Yo,
Oh,
version.
okay,
y'all
that's
some
why I'm like
malignant
looking at this
niggas,
shit
yo.
like, damn.
Yeah, the PC version has a lot less than the Xbox version.
Hey,
Okay.
But yeah, like on the Xbox version, man, you have there's some other stuff in there like Final Fantasy 15, Kingdom Hearts.
Nigga, take that shit
Um,
offline.
they have Mortal Kombat, I think. They have Mortal Kombat in there. They
mm.
did have Red Dead 2 for a little bit. I think they
Now
took it
I
out already.
really want to
But
say. Can you shut up, please? Thanks. Appreciate it.
shut the fuck up.
Can't vote away.
I
I
really want to
Never meant to
say.
be so cold.
Welcome to the No Filter Podcast. This is your host, Omega, aka Music Game Pass, aka Josh. And we have on the
bloop
show
bloop 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 bloop
blah blah
bloop.
blah.
So,
I'm sorry. I don't have no sound no sound bounce. Nelson, I'm sorry for
Can't get that soundboard.
he's stupid. He said I'm sorry for the way that I am. I don't like none of y'all. Nelson, get your ass in here unless you unless you fucking busy with the kids. I thought you already knew to jump in there. But anyway, we have some topics to talk about. And you know how this show rolls. This show rolls strictly off of just the gaming industry as a whole. And then at the end of the show, we'll talk about some current events. And the current event we're going to talk about is at the end of the show. Well, let me back up a little bit. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you like it. If you have this shit, retweet this bitch. That'll help. So we have three topics, main topics to
like,
The
talk
share,
about.
most
subscribe.
Subscribe. We have
elbow that like button.
hit that like button hard. So we have three
Smack
topics.
it.
We have what makes a next generation game a next generation game. That's number one. What makes a next generation game, and then is cross platform or cross gen actual problem? And at the end of that situation is this is the third topic. Where is the game industry going? And I see what you said. You got to grab some stuff. I have not eaten and was distracted. So then the last topic we talk about, which is a little bit of an end at the end of the show, we talk about current events, world news, and stuff like that. And this current event is going to be about being a man, and in 2021. So we're going to start off with the first topic
Oh
here.
God.
Shut your ass up.
I said, oh God.
I know, and I said shut your ass up. Can y'all guys hear me really well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Why is there a delay? What about you, Magnificent?
I hear you.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, making sure.
Good.
It's like a crazy delay. So, we are going to talk about what we've been doing. So, let me ask Ken, what have you been doing lately? The past week.
Uh, I mean, besides beating off,
Say again.
I said besides beating off,
Oh Jesus Christ.
not too much, not too much, man. To be honest with you.
No, of course. You
No,
actually
I'm
told me
joking.
you told me at the end. I mean, you told me sometime this week you beat Returnal, right?
Yep, yeah, I beat Returnal. Um, I'm trying to go for the platinum trophy, man, and just to kind of. I wanted to get it before Ratchet and Clank came out, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. So,
That game
I
is
still got
hard.
like 10 trophies to get.
No,
Yeah,
that end game shit is fucking
and it's
difficult.
all procedural, so
I'm like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But
Jesus Christ.
I mean, aside from that, I actually beat some stuff on my Xbox, believe it or not. I was playing The Evil Within 2. I'm not Evil Within 2, the first one, The Evil Within, which was pretty cool. I actually finished that playthrough.
Okay.
Um, but aside from that, man, that's pretty much it. Like, share, subscribe.
Oh, games with extra frame rates. What is he talking about? Oh, I'm just gonna ignore that nigga. Yo. Busy with the kids. I was on a dock with a long miles. Okay, so that whole thing got like deleted. All right, cool. What about you, Magnificent Black?
I've been chilling, man. Play a little Ratchet and Clank. Know what I mean?
Ratchet and Clit.
Technically, I got
Yeah,
the
me. I mean,
not me.
Not me.
Technically, I got the platinum, but I'm having troubles unlocking that motherfucker. I tried to play Gears today, man. High Busters, bro, and I'm just having all types of issues with the co-op, bro. Like as soon as you start up the game, like it desyncs whoever who isn't the host, whoever's like what I'm saying is the other player that's not the host, it like totally crashes on them. Like it doesn't load up for them at all. Like it'll start up whoever the host is, it'll start up. It don't matter who the host is. The host gets to play, but the other person just never loads in. So
You know
like,
why? Is because
and
that
this is
other person didn't
I'm look at
exist.
the. I have no idea, man. They have some type of issue that's been ongoing since 2019. Like I've looked in the forums on Reddit, and up until even 45 days ago, people are still having problems connecting to co-op with that game. And the funny thing is, you don't hear anything about that at all. Like everybody will tell you that that game, like High Busters, is so good, and
60
that
frames per
game is
second.
so good, so
So
good.
good.
But you don't hear anything about it. And today, you know what I was like? Because I kept on seeing guys every time somebody compared Horizon Forbidden West to like games on Xbox, it was like, oh, what you call it looks better. My busters look better. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take my 3070 and I'm gonna load that fucking game up, and it's gonna look better than the Series X. It's like that motherfucker don't look better than fucking
bro,
Horizon
bro,
Forbidden West. I'm calling motherfuckers out. But I couldn't even
Hold
get the
on.
game
Wait,
to
hold
work
up.
today.
Hold up.
yo,
Hold
So
up.
I'm
Hold up. Hold up.
telling
Hold
you,
up.
fuck.
bro.
Wait.
I was
Pause.
gonna
I'll
do
let
a
you go.
review
I'll
today
let you
because they
go,
said the
Ken.
game's only 3 hours long.
I'll let you go,
Oh
Ken.
my bad. Go ahead.
I want to say this shit. That's the equivalent of somebody saying that you look like somebody that you know damn well is ugly. Yo, you know you look like JJ from Good Times, bitch. I'ma bust you in your fucking neck.
The comparison, is a fucking insult, bro.
It
But
really is.
Bro,
yeah,
I
man. I
was
mean,
like facts, yo. Like
mhm.
I saw some people on Twitter like, yo, High Busters just looks just as good or better than Horizon. I'm like, bro, nah, fam, that ain't it. That ain't
Yeah, I'm like,
it.
what are they talking about? Like, I loaded that shit up. Now I downloaded the 4K textures and everything. Like the homie, he
They
didn't have
think
his shit
because it
loaded up.
has
He thought he did. We waited for like 2 hours to get the textures in there, and
he
then the
said
shit
2
didn't
hours.
work because they got some type of network issue.
This all right. So they think because
Really
it has
bad.
some leaves in it,
Mhm.
then it's basically Forbidden West. But okay. So
Nah, the
far,
physics is like as soon as we started the game, we were like, yo, the physics is off. It was like we were crashing that shit, bro. We
this
go
don't
Just
through
have
it
the
doesn't
like, hold
look
Sony
up,
as good.
appeal.
yeah,
Wait a
these
minute.
ain't. Yeah, it didn't have the animations and like it looked like a good game, but what's the problem is when they start comparing it to Sony games, then they leaving it open for criticism, bro. Like as soon as you
They
start
shit
comparing
starts
it to
falling
the
all
top
apart.
tier shit, you
Yo,
making that shit look stupid. That's like
didn't
a
I
fine ass
say
standing next to an ugly bitch, dog. Like, come on, the ugly bitch needs to sit her ass down somewhere.
go over there and sit
You
down?
know what I'm saying?
Didn't we talk about
Unless
that,
you want to be
Ken?
criticized, because
Ken, didn't we talk about that in the PlayStation culture? Like, don't
Which
bring
one?
people think that because you a fan of something that we can't criticize it. Don't bring that bullshit there. You know what I'm saying? Because like I can freely criticize PlayStation. There's many things to criticize, but the second you try to compare it to that, then you have a problem. Then I'm gonna have to deconstruct your whole shit. But anyway, we're gonna move on to me, and then we're gonna start the topics. So, quite frankly, I had a hell of a time. So apparently, my car is under warranty, and because it's under warranty, it needs to be it can get repaired and shit like that. So I've they spent $12,000 trying to repair this car. And I thought everything was done. So I'm sitting there driving, going to the gym. I was ready. And my car stalled right in the middle of in the highway. So I'm fucking upset. I'm fuming. I mean, I'm like, motherfuckers. I was losing my fucking mind. Because it don't make no fucking sense. And I knew it almost felt like they didn't quite know how to really fix it. They were like, well, we changed the ECM with the car, and you should be good. You should be good to go. And I'm like, I don't like that should. So anyway, they I talked to them, and we got the car towed. He was like, well, we just call this number 1-800-123-4567, and they are certified Nissan, because I have a 370Z. They're certified Nissan roadside assistance. Just call them. So I called the number. It asks, automated machines ask a billion questions, and I'm pressed for time because I still work today. I finally get to somebody. They say, "Oh, enter your 17,000-digit VIN number," and I'm like, "Britt, oh, come on, man!" I'm like, "All right." So I had to open the door, type that whole shit in. We don't have record of your car. One moment, please, while we connect you to an operator. So it connected me to an operator. Some black nigga comes on the line and shit like that, trying to be a coon and shit. How may I help you today? So this dude, I said, bro, I said, I need you to send the car out. Where's your exact locations? I said, what the fuck you need? Longitude and latitude fucking numbers? I don't fucking know. I'm on the highway. I don't know where it is. Do you have any landmarks or anything? I said, bro, I was losing my fucking mind. I said, a fucking auto parts store. I've named it. Then I Googled the shit while I was on the phone. One moment, please. The nigga put me on hold for fucking 5 minutes. Come back. We don't have record of your car. What was your VIN number again? Give me the last 8 digits of your VIN number. I gave it to him. Yeah, we don't have records. The only thing we have. One moment, please. He goes back and comes back like 4 minutes later. Yeah, it just says you have a 2013. I said, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what it says. Bro, I don't have a 2013 anything. To 2019. Period. That's the end of it. That's it. And then nigga hung up on me. And I was like, motherfuckers. I was fucking losing it. Bro, I was going. So they got the car towed and everything like that. That's how my day went and shit like that. So, I ended up leaving work early, took a nap, and had to go back to the gym later on, and here I am. I've actually gotten partial second ending of Returnal, so I'm pretty cool with that. Yeah, I'll talk about that.
Nice.
I'll talk to Lawrence about that later because I can't spoil it. It's not the complete ending. I didn't beat the game again, but I went to the house and had that little situation. So, either way, let's start off with the topics here. What makes a next generation game? This is a point of contention for a lot of people. Apparently, there are many millions of developers that are just on Twitter, and they know more than the developer themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok is cross-gen. Jesus Christ. It could have been so much more. It's so much more potential. Okay. Well, what else? What was it going to do? You don't understand. It's not about just the graphics. It's the game design. Okay. So what was the game design going to be like? Nigga, you a fanboy. So that's all they got. They don't got anything else other than that. So my question to the panel. I'm gonna start off with Magnificent. What is your take on what makes a next generation game or this current? You know what I mean by next. Niggas, y'all know what I mean. Don't even try to play me. We are current. You know what I mean. PS5. What would make a PS5 game?
I mean, I mean, you
Yo, get
know,
your dick out your mouth, yo.
when it comes to next gen games, it's obviously going to be it's going to start off with the design of the game.
Mm.
What you can design and what you can't design will be the difference between the two generations. So if the PlayStation 4 would be limited to a certain plateau at or a peak when it comes to the design, you can't do because you only have so much to work with. The next generation, you should be able to go beyond that plateau and achieve a higher even more goals with that whatever you're you're contemplating on making. So the difference would be that the next generation would be able to accomplish things that the previous generation couldn't. What that would be is up to the the developer, of course.
So
Now,
in your position, you're saying that
mhm.
what extra could it do? What is your consideration for a next generation game? Because that's the contention right now. What do you believe a next
I mean,
generation game should manifest itself to be?
we've already seen demonstrations of what next gen is. So I mean, just me being able to get into my game faster, or the little to no load times. You know what I'm saying? Little things like that. So it's not necessarily graphical, anything graphical. You know what I'm saying? It could be something as little as the load times, the streaming of assets, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? It's not, it could be little things that we feel are just quality of life things, but then those little things add up. But when people think about next gen, they tend to think about things like graphical things like. But there's a lot more things going on in the background. You know what I'm saying? Me being able to share and stream my shit to to YouTube and do this at the same time and do that multitasking. Those are things that aren't showing up on what I'm saying that aren't always thought about when people think about next gen. You know what I'm saying? Just the ability to multitask. So like I said, it could be anything. It's a lot of different things that it could be, and as long as the actual system itself or the game is producing something that the previous generation couldn't, then it's considered next gen. It could be something very little. Like for example, like I said, the loading times will be,
I mean,
saying
you
something
starting
that
to.
I
I
would
mean,
consider.
honestly, magnificent. You
Hmm.
starting to sound like a real like hardcore fanboy with Sony's dick all the way up your ass, scratching the lima bean within. Um,
Now, you want to know what my stance is? Because I haven't talked about my stance. Now, I'm telling you what next gen is by definition.
yeah, you sound
You already
textbook
know
right
that
now.
no, you already know where my stance was with this because we talked about this shit when we first met. I told you that I didn't want cross gen games, and I still feel that way. But with that said, I understand why they need to make the games cross gen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fucking asshole. I understand partially, what I'm saying, what a business has to do, and I understand the climate of things, what's going on right now. Now, as a consumer, I don't give a fuck, but me as a fucking human being, I understand what the fuck is going on. So it's like I'm a little disappointed, but at the same time, I'm cool with it because I like the way that the game looks. For example, Horizon Forbidden West looks fucking amazing to me, and I'm satisfied with what I see.
And then,
As long as they got my 60 fips,
oh
I'm
my
good,
god.
bruh.
Oh no.
And I
Oh,
know the 60 fips is coming.
no, it's there. It's there. It's confirmed. It's confirmed. Um,
Facts. So as long
so
as I got my 65th, I'm straight, bro. The
the
game looks fucking amazing. I can't name a game right now that looks better than this game, like hands down. Like
Ratchet and Clank.
between this and Ratchet and Clank, I'm like, oh my god, I don't know. It's
see,
just two
see,
different art styles,
see
but
the thing.
I love the way this game
I
looks.
will say this,
Yeah.
right? I will say this because there's been some chatter on social media stating that uh, if it was next generation or if it was just PS5 alone, you could have better animations, you could have bigger environments, and I'm like, bro, we don't even know what the
Mhm.
fuck it looks like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The big thing was ray tracing. The other big thing was fucking 60 fips. Well, you got that. Well, I
Mhm.
mean, what quantifies as a next generation game? Ken, thoughts?
On what makes a next generation game. Personally, man, I mean, what I or I'll go from this angle. What I
What's
expect
going on,
from a
Umar?
next
I do
generation
too.
game. Um, Personally, I always kind of imagine. Usually, what I kind of expect from a next generation game are usually, obviously better graphics, things like that, graphical fidelity, but also like higher levels of detail. like within not only like the character models but the worlds themselves, but also not just the detail in the character, but also detail with how you react with things in the world, you know, um, and little things too. You know what I'm saying? Like how, like for example, like in Horizon, you see the sand moving in the ground and shit like that, but like on a larger scale, where the physics of the world is actually a little bit more prevalent because of, you know, um, they're able to take a little bit more time to put a little bit more attention to detail into the world and shit like that. Makes it feel more alive and more believable and stuff. Um,
Mhm.
just like the density of the worlds and stuff like that. I mean, in terms of like what they could do with like the SSD and all that. I mean, the only example that I've seen obviously is like what we've seen with Ratchet and Clank. You know what I'm saying? Where you see them jumping in and out of worlds and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, when I think of like what they could possibly do with the SSD in terms of like stuff that way,
SSD.
like designing the game. Um, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. It's like, what if, like, for example, like in God of War, if they were able to kind of like really utilize the SSD completely, like, what happens if like you get into some crazy boss fight and you're like
Mhm.
jumping, like fighting through dimensions and shit? I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And it's like loading in worlds. It's yeah, like seriously, like if you just get in some crazy fight and you're just fighting through dimensions and the world's loading in as you're fighting, like I mean, I don't know, like something like that, I would imagine would be, like a next generation leap. All of it together, you know what I'm saying? As well as like some of the features that they kind of gave us with the DualSense and the 3D audio and all that type of stuff. So,
See,
um,
so
I
you know
mean,
what?
but that's kind of what I expect.
So I'm going to interject here, right? One of the things that really made me roll my eyes, right, is that you remember how uh, almost a year ago, or actually a year ago, when Mark Cerny came on the stage and he mentioned a couple of different things that were pain points for next generation. One of them being data transfer, where the designers had to literally make winding roads to slow you down while it loaded things behind the corner or behind the road or whatever the case is. That's what he kind of meant
Mhm.
when it came to having the system dictate your game design. So it seems to be loading is the issue. What happens when you take that away? You don't have to load anymore. Well, then you can make better worlds. Your worlds won't be shackled by you know the loading. You won't have to think about, oh gosh, if it gets to this point, it's not going to load this particular area, fast enough. So now you can just make the whole world. But the thing is, oh yeah, another thing that he mentioned before is that you can have faster loading times, and of course he said ray tracing, which you don't have to use. He also mentioned that ray
Mhm.
tracing you could use it for sound. You can use it for sound design if you wanted to, because in with ray tracing, there's components within the GPU that calculates rays back and forth, and sounds work to very similar to light. That being said, everyone called him a fraud, right? Everyone called him crosshairs. What's good, my homie? Everyone called Mark Cerny
Yes.
a fraud. This nigga is trying to paint 9 point whatever teraflop, 10.3 teraflops as a non-weakness is what they were saying. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Then they started seeing games perform better on the PlayStation 5, which was like maybe this nigga had some truth to what he was saying. And there is a how can I say it? There's definitely a paradigm shift as to what the SSD can do. Now, would it change the landscape of things? It can make things look better without processing power because you can. And I'll tell you, and I'll talk about that in a second. So let me address Umar's shit. He says AI, right? Umar, you say AI and NPC design and things of that nature. So if you've ever played Horizon Zero
Mhm.
Dawn, you'll know that when you get to the big city of Meridian, you know you have to ride the elevator. And whilst you are riding the elevator, it is deloading the game logic of the open world and loading the logic of the town. Now, on on the outside, it doesn't look like it's doing that much, but you get certain things like the priest praying. You know what I'm saying? You get people picking up fruit and stuff like that, where now they don't have to render the enemy, the machine's AI and stuff like that. When you have faster loading, you can just swap that out very quickly, and that makes things a lot easier, right? But focusing on what I wanted to say about this situation is now people are taking Mark Cerny seriously, and they are under the impression that the SSD is going to be some kind of fucking game changer, and it is to a degree, especially with the loading. But what exactly? This is what I want to ask you guys because I've been talking a lot, and I'll touch back on it. Ratchet and Clank allows for you to pull the levels towards you with faster loading. So magnificent. Does that really help gameplay? Does that elevate gameplay in any kind of way, shape, or form?
I think it's more of an aesthetic thing than anything, and it's showing off more than anything. Um, it looks cool. I know what they're doing. That's why it's cool. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, they could have did a regular grapple hook. You know what I'm saying? Effect. But it's cool that we know what they're doing. So more than anything, that's I feel that's what it is. It
Like,
could have been any other.
I
It could have
have
been
to,
something else.
as I have to
Yeah.
remind people that this is all about the developer and what they are capable of doing. AI is very little memory. The trick to making AI, and I wanted to go to school for creating AI. The trick to making AI is to make it have flaws because the computer will always. It makes it seamless, but it doesn't change the gameplay more. It's still the same shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a nice visual look, similar to any other like ray tracing or anything else, but it doesn't do anything to the gameplay. Um, that shit fuck my whole memory up. Oh yeah, AI. AI is very little memory. We're talking about kilobytes. And the trick to making AI nice is to make it so that it can do flaws. So you'll have your cone vision because the AI technically knows where you're at all times. So you make it have cone vision, and then you have proximities within that cone vision to see if it kind of sees you and has to investigate or completely sees you altogether. Then you have to make code for those two scenarios. You know what I'm saying? Or sounds, and that's where ray tracing comes in, where you can have sound bounce back and forth or whatever the case is, or if you make a sound in this particular area, it can look around and stuff like that. You don't need that much processing power at all for ray tracing, period. You don't need it. There are some games on PlayStation 2 that have excellent, like Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, excellent, 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 excellent AI on very limited memory. So that AI is not going to do anything. I can tell you that much. In terms of the amount of stuff that you can do, you can stream situations just similar to how Horizon Zero Dawn does it. That area is off limits. It cuts all the logic from that area behind you and loads the logic in front of you. Now, the next question is, and before we move on to the next subject, the next question is this. Because no one seems to be able to answer the question of what next generation can bring other than visuals. This is all this really is visuals and faster loading. Every generation, except for from the 16-bit to the 32-bit, was incremental to me. It was just nothing but graphics, basically. And that's what people need to understand. This is all about graphics. So what makes a next generation game? Quality of life fixes like loading time and graphics. Let's be real. Let's be 100%. Ken, would you agree?
Wait, can I interrupt real quick?
Mm-hmm. Jump in.
Hey, so what game were you confirming were in your opinion had really good AI
Metal Gear Solid
that
2 and
you
3.
felt like what Metal Gear?
Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. Fear is another one.
He said, "Yeah, Metal Gear."
Mm-hmm.
So you feel
Crisis
like
even had.
there hasn't been a jump in AI since then? That's like your best AI games right there, like for
There's
example.
other ones I can't really think, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it has nothing to do with processing power. It's
All
how
right,
it's how
so
many scenarios the
I think
developer can
we,
think
we
of.
saw we saw an interview with Ubisoft when they were talking about Watch Dogs and how they were creating some type of complex AI for Watch Dogs Legion.
Okay.
And that looked like it fell through. I haven't played the game yet, but I haven't heard good things about the game.
Which
Haven't,
Watch
but
Dogs you
they
talking
were
about?
talking
Which
about some
ones?
complex AI and how what they were developing was something groundbreaking that they couldn't do on the previous gen
Okay.
or the
So what did
previous
they what
iteration
did they say
of
that
Watch
they
Dogs.
what did they say they could do?
Now, you saying that the AI doesn't isn't having next gen AI that is a part of the design. So it depends on the developer how complex they want to make the AI for their game. So if they want to make
It
a
depends on
okey
how
doke
crafty the
sneak around
developer are as
game,
well.
you're saying that you're impressed by the Metal Gear Solid's AI, and I'm not impressed. But that's a really old game. It works efficiently for what it's supposed to do. But what's so freaking smart and genius about it today? Looking back at it. I love Metal Gear 1 and 2, 3, and even 4. But I'm like, what was so impressive about the AI? I'm looking back at it, and I don't.
So let me ask you a question then. Let me ask
I'm
you a
sensing
question.
some type of malignancy right now.
Let me
It's
ask you.
not jiving
Let
with me
me
right
ask
now.
you a question so can avoid malignant behavior.
All right.
What game, in your opinion, has great AI?
Um, I can't really say right now. I haven't been impressed by any
Last of Us
AI
Part Two.
from any game.
Don't do that.
He says that's the
Don't,
first.
don't, don't.
You know what, bro? You're gonna laugh at me, bro. But a game recently that I played that had really good AI was Outriders. No bullshit. That game, if you played that
Do
game,
you
the
play
fucking
Outriders
AI.
anymore? Didn't you say that was game of the year?
But this other games came out.
Huh?
I beat the game. I got like 4 characters on fucking like fully
Mm.
leveled up and shit. Like I beat the shit
Mm.
out of that game.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But there's other games that came out. You know, it's a little shooter, bro. What you gonna do? You gonna grind? All you
I
gonna do
don't
is grind
know. It
that
seemed like
thing.
it had a
Once you beat
hold.
the
It
game, you
had a
beat the game.
hold on you. That's all I'm saying.
It's good. It's good. If they come out with some DLC, I'll play that bitch. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I'm at the end game with it right now. And just like you just grinding just to grind.
I
Like
see you, Nelson. I'm not even
it's
gonna
nothing. There's
pay you no
no.
mind. So all right. So here's the thing, right?
But damn, I forgot where I was going, bro. Yeah, but the AI, bro, the AI, they'll fucking flank the shit out of you, bro. They're not stupid, bro. They'll see that you're cornered. They make shit happen, bro. You got to play the game, bro. Like super smart. Every time I play that game, I'm like, damn, this fucking AI is smart, bro. It's like they actually thinking, bro. Like it's like almost like you fighting humans. Is how the AI works, man.
So I
You
explain.
can't. It's really hard to
I'll
choose
explain
the
that.
choose.
Now I'll explain the Metal Gear
Mhm.
Solid question. Right? You asked me a question about Metal Gear. This is what you asked me.
Mhm.
What is Metal Gear Solid? It's specifically Metal Gear Solid 3.
Mhm.
They react to a plethora of situations, right? Sounds, shadows. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what game reacts to shadows. Where they see a shadow, I'm like, what the hell was that? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, they will sweep an area. They will throw smoke bombs. They will shoot certain things to get you to like react. Um, if they are injured, they will heal themselves. Another part of AI isn't just the flanking part, but the part that makes them self-preservate. I keep saying that, and
All right,
people,
I think you're taking it a little too far, though, Josh. This is programming. They program them to do certain things when certain things occur, and you're calling that AI. The computer isn't thinking for itself. It's doing what it's
It's
programmed to do.
artificial. Yes, it's an illusion. That's not. But what I'm saying
Yeah,
is
it's an
this.
illusion.
What I'm saying is this. The way the AI works is based off of your reactions, and based off of the environment's
Mm-hmm.
reactions, and based off of other NPCs' reactions. The AI needs to understand its surroundings and who it's up against and who is his friends. I think Horizon it does. It does have great AI, the machine specifically. And
Mm-hmm.
Guerrilla Games in general are really good with AI, and you know what I mean. They had like a lot of PDFs and GDC stuff about their AI. But what I'm saying about self-preservation, when you play Metal Gear Solid, right? You can shoot the guy in the arm, whatever the case is. He can't use that arm anymore. That's part of the AI. You know what I'm saying? Um, if you shoot them enough, they won't try to engage or they will try to call for help. Things like that. You know what I'm saying? Just them flanking you is more to it than that. What the game is supposed to do is make you feel like they're living in all facets. And that game did so much. It's not that many games that exceeded that, which is weird because we are so many generations beyond that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think, "Oh, it flanked me." Yeah, because AI will always know its surroundings. It knows you program it to get a feel of the surroundings, and if you're here, then it goes there, and if you're there, then it goes there. If you're ducking, then they're going, you know what I mean? They're going to try to keep shooting you to make you focus on that enemy and have another one come behind you. That's rudimentary AI. That's rudimentary AI. That should be standard across the board. But you don't need to have something powerful to make that shit work. Is what I'm saying. You don't. That's my argument. AI is something that has nothing to do with next gen. It has something to do with the programmers themselves. Similar to how this cross generation game looks better than any game that I've seen. You know what I'm saying? Smart design is always going to ring. But that's programmed in the game though. That AI. All AI cross is fake. None of it's really thinking. It always knows where you are. AI always will know where you are, always and forever. It's to get you to think that they don't is the trick. The AI is programmed to fail, and really, the game knows where you are at all times. So it's that illusion that creates the artificial intelligence. But like, if I were to be a programmer, if my health is a certain level, then fall back and find help. That's how you would do it. Fall back to another AI that has better health. And they do that in Horizon, by the way. You shoot a machine, and if it gets damaged enough, it will run away. And that's part of the AI. And they don't really do that. It's more than just flanking. My whole point of this is that AI is not the limiting factor. The machine's power is not dictated. It doesn't dictate AI. Now, what this SSD will be able to do, this is what I really wanted to get into the meat of, because explain to me, everybody that's in this chat, in the panel, explain to me what is the difference between PS3 and PS4 gameplay wise. Ken, go.
I would say the biggest thing is probably just how much bigger and how much denser some of the worlds are.
So bigger, more.
You know, yeah, like bigger, more stuff in the world. Just obviously like the level of density in terms of the content. Um, you know, I would also say obviously things like graphical fidelity, stuff like that. Obviously they have.
Avoiding graphical fidelity and density. What is it? What did it bring to the table that the PS3? What did PS4 bring to the table that the PS2 or PS3 couldn't do, gameplay wise?
I mean, I can't really think of a game that was just like so different. I mean, and it makes sense too because when Mark Cerny talked about game design, he talked about how the games were designed the same over the last like 20 years or something like that, and that's why they were trying to get away from that, you know, um, in terms of the design for the PS5. I mean, I don't know. I mean, most of the games that came out on the PS4, pretty much the same type of games with just more, like more things in the world, more of the world. Um, yeah, just more. You know what I'm saying? Better graphics, stuff like that.
Again,
I would even say things like yeah, no, I mean there hasn't really been much that's changed in terms of the actual game design. The actual design itself,
what about you?
I would say
What about
not
you?
really.
What about you, malignant bitch? I'm
Your
fucking with you.
malignancy.
Malignancy.
No, but I don't think that that's a good example
Oh no no
between
no no no!
PS3 and PS4 because they
My
both are
question to
using.
you, Larry.
Hold up, let me finish. Let me finish, bro.
You didn't
I
really
don't think
answer.
it's a good example. I don't think it's a good example to compare the PS3 and the PS4 because they're both using the only differences are the GPU compute and the CPU compute for those things. Now they're both using fucking hard drives, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I feel like. That jump from PS3 to PS4 wasn't a great fucking jump in anything. The graphics look better, but that was it. We didn't have it. The big jump this gen is the CPU compute, and the SSD and the IO. That's what the big jump
But
is.
we're talking about
That's what's the neat
gameplay.
thing about it.
We're talking about gameplay
So we're talking about
and bet PS2
all
to
right. You're
PS3.
talking about gameplay, but that's up to the developer, bro.
No, no,
That's
no.
up to the
I
developer to
realize. I
do
realize.
use their
So what
resources.
happens is the manufacturer of a console, it's they are supposed to create something so they can create something better to make it worthwhile to jump to the next step. PS2 to PS3. What did they do? What did they
What did
do?
my dog Mark Sonny say, bro?
No. I
He
don't care
said
about
he's
what. I don't. No.
interested
No.
in
No. No.
seeing
I
what
don't
the
care about what
developing
Mark Cerny
community is
said.
gonna do, right?
I don't care what Mark
No,
Cerny
no,
said.
you just brought up Mark Cerny earlier in the
I'm talking
stream, but
about
now you
this question.
don't care what he
I'm not.
said.
But I'm not hearing an answer from you. I'm talking about this
He,
very question.
he's
From PS2 to
It's not a
PS3.
white and black answer, bro. You trying to tell me what hasn't been done, but nothing's been done yet because we're at the beginning of the generation. You asked me this at
But
the
I'm
end of
not
the
talking about
generation
this
when
generation. I
people.
said from PS3 to PS4. You said that
You
wasn't
said
fair.
PS3 to PS4. That it's not a fair question because they're all limited by the hard drive. They
That's
were
not.
limited by the hard
That's
drive,
not
bro.
accurate. That's not
Why
accurate.
can't we be friends?
That's not
Why
accurate.
can't we
So
be
the hard
What, what
friends?
about what
the hard
about
disk
what
wasn't a
about
limitation,
PS
bro.
what about PS2 to PS what about PS2 to PS3? What gameplay element did they add in there?
I don't know. That was a long time ago,
That was
bro.
a long time ago.
You said PS2 to PS3.
Mm-hmm.
Man, come on, man.
Hmm?
This is you asking me a question like off rip, like I'm supposed to just have the answer for you, bro.
Nigga,
This is something that I
your
have to go
memory is
back and
on
research,
point,
bro.
yo. Your memory is on point. Don't even do that.
Come on, no, it's not on point. I'm thinking about it now, but it's like you telling me something like PS3, PS2, PS3. I gotta go do some research about that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been played a PS2 game. I played a PS3 game today, which was Ratchet and Clank, and the big difference between that and now is the load times.
But that's not
Where's the load
gameplay though.
times and the
That
graphics?
has nothing to do with gameplay though.
I hear what you're saying, bro, but at the same time, it's like it's a last that you talking about some shit that's some time ago, bro. For me to be able to just get that to you on the
But the
spot, it's
fact that
like,
you can't say
come on.
I could even go to okay, so PS okay, alright, fine. Super NES to PlayStation 1. Now we all know what the fuck that did. We all know what it did.
3D. We had
3D.
3D games,
We
and you know what I'm saying. We
leaped
had bigger games,
we
bigger and
leaped
better
over
games.
to 3D. From PS1 to PS2, they gotten rid of draw distance. Then they added physics to the environment. Physics was a big thing in PS2 days. It was physics that they added. Shit that you can break down walls. No draw distance. Levels there you don't need loading times anymore in terms of like everything was connected. They were able to, and to be honest with you, they had driver too where you can get out the car and shit like that. But the thing is the physics were limited. You know what I mean? People walking around having their own lives in Grand Theft Auto. You know what I mean? The hookers are on the street and shit like that. And then when the morning time comes, you have fucking workers and shit like that. I'm telling you, Rockstar has some of the best AI, and no one's really surpassed that at this point. And it's been 3 generations later. And you're right, it's up to the developer. But what is the consoles doing to help?
How does that affect? But how does that affect the gameplay?
What?
Like the actual design of the gameplay, because that's kind of going into a different direction.
What is that?
Your question to us was from the leap between PS3 and PS4. Like, what was the difference in the actual gameplay? Like, what changed? And then you went from PS2 to PS3, and then you went even further back, right? So, in terms of like AI and physics and stuff like that, like how does that affect the actual design of the gameplay?
It changes the way you play, which is gameplay. If the AI is making you act a certain
How though? That's what I'm asking.
What do you mean how?
How?
If
Yeah.
you could just
Explain to
now,
me. Explain to me like I don't.
Okay, so in terms of AI, in terms of them being able to open doors and shit like that, now I got to make sure that this door is covered. Whereas I never had to think about doors or anything like that in terms of the previous generation. Shit moving, shit being like, for instance, Red Faction. Red Faction is one of those games where you can literally blow a hole around the fucking wall. That was not possible in the previous generation at all. At all. From PS3 to PS4, it just keeps
was that a PS2 game?
That was PS2 game. The amount of things that you can do keeps shrinking each generation. And that's my whole point is most of this shit is starting to look like quality of life or completely cosmetic. Like it's inconvenient for a loading time to happen. It's inconvenient. You know what I'm saying? That's a quality of life thing. The changes are more
It seems
coding
like
than
in
they have
terms.
character actions than they give. It is coding. That's my point. If you're really nasty at coding, then you don't need another console. That's my point.
Hey, you know what? You know what else, man? I feel like at least with this generation, what they're trying to do in terms of, and I think this does actually affect the gameplay too, is kind of what they're doing with things like the DualSense controller. You know, sensations like what you can feel. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like you can, like for example, in Returnal, you can actually feel the difference between when your gun is reloaded and when it's not reloaded. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're using your alt fire. So intuitively, what you could do is you can actually use the controller to react to whatever's going on around you. You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
As opposed to actually
It's
paying
a it's
attention
a
more
it's
to the
a
actual UI.
it's a
Um,
sensory menu where you don't need your eyes or ears. You can feel when it's going to happen.
so yeah, so I think that's something else that they could probably utilize in some interesting ways. Like at least going into this current generation, that feels like a next generation leap over what was capable before, or what was possible before. You know what I'm saying?
And that's my
And I don't
argument.
even know. Maybe
And
maybe that
that's
shit
my
was possible before. I don't
argument.
fucking know.
Instead of going up, they went out. That's what PlayStation did. Well, each older console only has so much code and hence the new code and can do more space. That's why Ken was saying more, add more to the things, because really it's all math. You can still do the same things at this point. You just can't have that much of it. Still the same thing, just not as much things going on or as many of them. And when it comes to AI, you can have a ton of them. So, Magnificent Black, I want to backtrack and say that the generation is adding the DualSense. The DualSense seems to be a game changer. That I never want to go back to a regular controller. Never. I don't. And it's not because it's vibrating a certain way. It's adding an extra button within a button. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an evolution of what the PS2 was doing, which was pressure sensitive buttons. But this one is a lot more tactile. You have two different functions within one trigger. You know what I'm saying? And you can feel when your weapon is about to charge up. Things like that is you can't do that in the last generation. Maybe not graphically, it doesn't do anything
Yo, you know
crazy.
what else? You know what I just thought of too, man? Something that they could probably do with the new controller with the DualSense. Because you know how like in Control, right? When you step on different surfaces, or even like in Astrobot, right? You can feel the difference between like stepping in sand and stepping on a hard surface, right? And you can even feel the difference between like ice surface and wood surface. You know what I mean? Like what they could also do is maybe add like a gameplay element, right? Where say like for example in Hellblade, like you had to walk through this dark room, right? You couldn't see anything at all. But instead of it being like you're relying on your eyes, you're relying on what you feel on the controller to kind of navigate you forward. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're
As
gonna
well
have
as what you hear, because I think the 3D audio also helps with that.
in 3D audio too. Without you, well, 3D audio you could buy a 3D just a headset and shit like that. I was kind of reluctant to do it. It's built in, which is a quality of life thing, but the DualSense seems to be like the game changer, like people kind of thought it was originally. But I give you that. I give you that as well. Absolutely. And when it comes to Gran Turismo, now I know Cross, he plays Gran Turismo, but he plays it as a will. And for people that don't have a will, your triggers is going to be able to give you that sensoral feedback as to what texture the ground is. And if your ABS is slipping and things like that, you know what I'm saying? So you got all types of tactile feelings within there. Or locking your wheels locking up and things of that nature. So that shit like that is definitely next gen to me. It's just not visually next gen. It's handling a different sense. You know what I mean? Instead of the eyes, it's handling the sense of touch. Which, moving on to the next subject, is cross generation an actual problem? Now that we discussed all of that. Magnificent Black, what do you think?
Mm, that's in the eye of the beholder, man. I mean, it's a problem for people who are looking forward to next gen experiences. It's going to be it's not cross gen is a gift to people who don't have a PlayStation 5 right now. So at this point, man, I don't feel like I'm not seeing anything that looks disappointing coming out of PlayStation next gen games or the cross-gen games that Sony is producing. So at this point, I don't think it's a problem. I think it's cool for now. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see. I do see some people are disappointed with the way things look. I don't see that. I'm impressed with everything I've been seeing. So until that day happens, I'm gonna say it's not a problem right now. It looks good to me.
I mean, going based off of everything that we just discussed, you know what I'm saying? Um, it makes it less of an issue. You know, the stuff that you can add on the 3D sound and stuff like that. What about you, Ken? Is it a problem for you?
For me personally, no, I don't think so. I mean, um, obviously, I would like to see, some of these games obviously be next generation exclusive and all that stuff, right? But then again, it kind of beckons the question, like you were asking before, like what makes a game next generation? You know what I'm saying? And obviously, a lot of times it really comes down to like the game just looks better. They're able to add more shit into the game. But you know what? Like with Ratchet and Clank to me is kind of like the most I guess you could say next gen in terms of like game design or level design, I guess. I don't really know which one it would be, but how you're able to like jump in between worlds. So that's kind of like where my mind goes, because I'm wondering like how would they be able to implement things like that, you know what I'm saying? And if they were able to kind of like use the power of the full power of the PS5, like could they do shit like that in games like God of War and whatnot, right? Like I mentioned, like if they have some dimensional battle or some shit, I don't fucking know. But um, I mean, in terms of like, am I disappointed? No, not really. I mean, from what I saw of Horizon, the game looks incredible.
No,
I don't
no,
really see what the big issue is.
no, because people
Um,
in their mind they have some sort of unknown vision of what next generation is, and what you're bringing up to the table in terms of Kratos beating the shit out of a guide and falling into different realms and shit like that without it loading. But then again, you got to ask yourself, what is that doing gameplay wise, other than visual stimuli? You know what I mean? So it's like it's nice to see. It's the same thing with Ratchet and
I
Clank.
mean, I guess in Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like my mind is automatically going to it's just a visual thing, but who knows? Like what could they do? In gameplay wise, being able to like jump in between worlds and shit like that. You know,
What is
um,
next gen gameplay? What is that?
I mean, I
That
don't know.
I
I
want to
don't know
know. To
that.
be
I
honest with
can't.
you, be
Yeah,
honest with you, magnificent. I
What
want
is
to
that's
it?
know what the fuck next
Hmm?
generation is. I don't
Me
know.
too. I'm like,
I
yeah, it's just
wonder. I
like,
wonder what people think they're
I don't.
missing.
yeah, I
Don't
don't
get
know about next gen gameplay. I mean, when you think about next gen gameplay, all right, so we got the thing with the VR going off. Maybe us playing what we're playing now in just playing in a different way. We're getting next gen gameplay by using the DualSense in a
right,
sense. You know what I'm
right.
saying? The way that we use our controller, the medium, the way that we control our games could
Yeah, I
be
agree with that.
seen as next gen gameplay. The sound that you know what I'm saying. Like I said, it's not always graphics. Everybody thinking next gen, they're only thinking about graphical fidelity, and we already know about Moore's law and the return on. We're gonna get less and less returns as these computer these game consoles get stronger. We see it now, like instead of them focusing all on graphics and putting this fucking instead of the I guess we got 10.3 or whatever 9 whatever the hell people are calling it, instead of them putting a 15 teraplot fucking GPU in this motherfucker, they're like, hey man, we're gonna put some co-processors in this bitch, we're gonna put a SSD in here, we're gonna have a dedicated sound chip, you know what I'm saying, because they wanted to improve upon other areas. So next gen isn't always what you see, man. We're using all of our senses when we're playing the PlayStation 5. You know what I'm saying? As fucking
Yo,
as
we
cringe as
sound like
that shit
yo,
sound, you know
we
what I'm
sound
saying?
like
We're using.
we sound like
We're,
fanboys, but it's true
I
though.
do, but it's the
No, no,
truth.
no,
We
not
playing
you, not
Returnal, bro,
you,
and that
not you,
audio.
us.
I know how cringe it sounds because I'm hearing myself. I'm like, ugh. But it's the
But
truth, dog. We
I was
playing
going
these
to say
games, and
this
you're
as
like,
you were
wow,
talking,
we didn't get that last gen.
as you were talking, I was like, damn, that kind of makes sense why they called it a dual sense. But it is what it is. I can't
Facts.
help it. I
Yeah,
can't help
it
it.
is what it is.
Just like what you said, Cross. You said Cross, right? If you're not loading, it doesn't take you out of the experience and shit like that. Like when I was playing Returnal, I
Hmm.
really didn't think about loading times. I was like, oh, let me go over here. Let me go over here. Let me go over here.
No,
And then I was
yeah,
like,
it's
wait
like
a
a
minute.
reflex. It's just like it's
I was
there.
like, yo, I
It's
don't have to
like
wait
you're
for
breathing.
nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because you get when you play Return,
Yo, you know what?
you get lost in the environment. Like you get lost
Facts.
because you.
Facts.
I mean, you get lost in the game because
You know what
nothing
I think
breaks you.
would be like. You
Go
know
on.
what I think? Well, I don't know, man, if this would be considered like next generation gameplay, but you know how like when they were first showing off Crackdown 3, right? They were talking about how you were able to like tear like little bits and pieces of the building and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like those type of physics. I think if you were able to kind of like manipulate worlds around you with those detailed types of physics, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that would actually like affect gameplay, you know what I'm saying? One game that I had thought of like immediately was actually Control, for example, right?
This nigga and his fucking
In
control, yo. If you
Control,
mention control one more
you
time, yo, I'm gonna kick you in your throat.
no, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Like in Control, you can literally like you could break the wall anywhere in the world or in the building, you know what I'm saying? And you could use like pieces of walls and shit to throw at enemies, and the floor, you could literally rip the floor out of the ground, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or like I even tested it, like if you go to like to a chair or some shit, right? You can literally shoot each individual piece of the chair off. Like, what if you were able to kind of like interact with the environment like that? You know what I'm saying? Like break pieces of the chair off and fucking fight enemies with that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like like more
There was a
detailed physics. You know what
game
I'm saying?
called Fighting Force, right? And Fighting Force was like
Yep.
Streets of Rage, and you know what it is, Magnificent. You know
Yeah, that
exactly what
shit was
this is.
dope. That's one
You
of my
can
favorite
pick up
PlayStation One games.
anything
Yeah.
in the environment and beat the shit out of somebody. I remember that you remember that elevator level and the little bars that you hold, motherfucker, break that shit up and bust you in your fucking neck, yo. A car
Right.
tire. You beat the shit out of somebody. You can pick up the fucking engine or the door or the fucking wheel. It was just like, oh
Yep.
shit, I need to get out of this level. Let me just find something and just pick this shit up and beat the shit out of you with it. They were doing that shit almost 30 years ago. Like that's you know what I'm saying. That's why I'm kind of disenchanted to a degree, and I'm glad that Sony is in the environment of the game or gaming space because we have stuff to do DualSense. Now, in terms of what you were saying, Ken, there's a game called it uses voxels, by the way, which voxels you can manipulate very easily. Voxels is a 3D pixel, and a 3D pixel is manipulated easily in an environment. There's a game called 7 Days to Die. They released this shit back in 2014 or something like that, and I played it heavily. Heavily. You can mine the ground just like Minecraft. It was like a better looking Minecraft basically. But you can mine the ground of materials and then build these materials, right? And build a house from scratch using blocks and shit like that. Now, one of the things that they had within each material is that it had some sort of structural integrity. I remember making a big ass house, and I remember making like a pool on the top roof, and I got the water. I fucking dumped the water in the shit, and it was nice. I had plants and shit like that. Now you know what I did too, which is cool. I put trees on top. I try to make like a little what do you call that shit again? Oasis, right? I put trees in there, and obviously within the game, the trees grow. You know what I'm saying? If you put the seeds in there, it will grow. So I'm sitting there, plant the seeds in there. It got a little nice, you know what I'm saying? Started growing. I went out again because they have day and night cycles, and I started mining for shit. And as I was walking away from the fucking house, fucking, I said, "What the fuck was that?" But I didn't really, fuck is that? But I didn't really pay attention. I go and I start mining still. Got all my materials. I was like, I'm gonna make another little room. I came back, yo, the fucking roof caved in. The roof caved in. And the reason why the roof caved in is because as the plant was growing, it added more weight to the fucking structure. So I needed to, I had to rebuild. Water was splashed everywhere. I had to rebuild and create like pillars and shit. That was on PS4. That's why I'm disenchanted with shit. You know what I'm saying? And before we move on to, because I feel like we, maybe. Anyway, before I go on to the last topic, the SSD, right? People are kind of curious as to what would the SSD do. The
Josh,
SSD,
can I comment
yeah, sure.
before you move on to the next?
I'm not moving on just yet, but
So
yeah,
all
go
right,
ahead.
All right, so I just wanted to comment on what you were talking about. You said you were disenchanted with some of these things because it's been done before, but a lot of these games, they're like it's more compounded. Like you're looking at a vertical slice. That game did that thing very well that you're talking about, but for instance, Control is doing multiple things that those games that we're experimenting with. They're doing that plus other things. You know what I'm saying? Like there's more that has a more complex design structure for the whole game. You know what I'm saying? Like they got the flying mechanic in the game, the AI. You know what I'm saying? You got it's a lot more coding. You know what I'm saying? The games are a lot more complex than what it was back then. Those games did
Yes,
experiment
I guess.
with those things. That's what I'm saying. That's what next gen isn't always the new experience. It could be a bunch of experiences all together as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna tell me what the difference is, or it's not that impressive because another game did it, but okay, this game is doing a lot of things that other games did, but they only did one of. You know what I'm saying? It's doing multiple things. So I think it is impressive. I don't want to. The only thing is, I didn't want to downplay what Control is doing or what other games are doing because other games done it before, but they done it as well. You know, things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like we're looking at all the graphics and all the coding, all that shit takes time. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of work, and that's why these games cost more. It's
Well,
for a reason.
I don't want to downplay it. What's going on, Jemiah? I don't want to downplay it either. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? It's just that, and I'm not saying that it's like it's not impressive what they're doing, but from a sheer
Mm-hmm.
gameplay perspective, it's familiar. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's just done prettier. You know what I'm saying? Like you can
I
have
guess
two,
it comes back
you,
to.
huh?
Go
Go,
ahead, go ahead.
no,
My bad.
go on. You started.
I didn't hear what you said.
No, I was just
You
gonna
said
say. I guess it. No, I guess it comes back to just adding more. You know what I'm saying? Because you talked about earlier like what makes a next generation game like well more graphics, more world, more enemies like that you can render into the world. Like more physics. Like how does it actually change the actual gameplay?
At
You know
this
what I'm saying?
point in
So that's
time,
all I was gonna
at
say.
this point
But
in
go ahead.
time, Magnificent said, there's some diminishing returns going on. But it's just like any other thing, right? Okay, so when you first go out with a chick, if you're heterosexual and a male, right? My first girlfriend that I actually banged was when I was 13, right?
You wouldn't know what that means, would you?
What you say?
I said you wouldn't know what that means, would you?
Wait, that'll shut your ass up. Anyway, so my first girlfriend was fat, very fat. We weren't really girlfriend boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? But I smashed the shit out of that shit. I bust her shit wide open. And then as I got older and I started learning that you could, you can get better. You know what I'm saying? Get better, a girl that can take care of herself and shit like that. And I banged that shit too. But what I noticed, it it was still the same pussy. You know what I'm saying? It's still fucking the same way. It's nothing really. It's still pussy. Pussy is pussy is pussy. It's just a better grade of it, and that's how I look at cross gen and next gen. You get that, and it's a better grade of it. On a side note, before we move on to the next subject, Horizon Forbidden West was mostly done on the PlayStation 4, and a lot of questions come to mind because Guerrilla Games definitely stated we weren't able to add flying mounts. These mounts that you can ride can't go that fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Afro, you stupid. They said that. It had time to, it was loading too much. You know what I'm saying? So they had all this shit. They said in one of the interviews, they had that fucking Zelda esque glider. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't work with the game itself. That was one of the
Yeah.
issues that they had with the game.
That's
Now the question here is how the fuck did you get the glider, the fucking all this shit running at the same time with extra animations? And people don't understand this. The hardware doesn't have to change. Software evolves. Look at what they're doing now. They had Days Gone, right? Days Gone was like 60 or 70 gigabytes. And then they had a patch that brought it down to like 38 or 40 out of nowhere, but the game remained the same. What happened? There was a new algorithm that allowed them to compress the information much better than what they had before using the same hardware. You look at Ghost of Tsushima. A
Mhm.
mechanical hard drive. Same fucking one where games take, like, I don't know, you could load Grand Theft Auto, right? And I get it's up doing a lot. But Grand Theft Auto takes like 3 minutes to load. You have Ghost of Tsushima, you basically are in the game within like 15 seconds. 15 fucking seconds using a mechanical hard drive. What changed? You know what I mean? You got to ask yourself that. And they got better technology software wise that allow for you to do more or make data smaller, and you can put more into the environment. And I kind of said this a while ago. I said, or I would say like a month ago, I said, if this is the case, I mean, look at Ghost of Tsushima. Maybe they have something, and maybe they share in technology that allows them to do that shit. Like the game had trouble streaming because it was inefficient. You know what I mean? And the software technology
Mhm.
wasn't mature. Now they have it mature, which can only help current generation. You know what I mean? You're getting better at the shit, and it can only help this current generation. Now I'm looking at Unreal 5. I've seen a lot of demos where the game has like an infinite level of detail. The closer you get, the more detail it loads, and you never see like the switch of level of detail. There's some ramifications with that as well. They have global illumination, which the global illumination that they have doesn't use the hardware for the PS5 or Series X in this particular case, but they have their own like solution that is basically it looks at
Mhm.
the screen and does whatever it needs to do. So there's many ways to skin the cat and stuff like that. But what I believe the SSD will do is you render the regular environment, right? And then with the extra fucking effects or extra processing power, you can add an extra layer to the environment that's in your immediate vicinity, right? The second you turn, it gets rid of that extra layer of detail and puts the other details in front of your face. It's able to load that extra layer of detail depending, but it can still keep the actual level design intact. That's what I think that's what Mark Cerny was talking about. Beyond the fact that, you know, uh, they found some algorithm to compress information that allows for the system to do much more with less memory. So there's a lot of little things. They can actually get rid of some of the frames of animation. Um, like if you look at Horizon Forbidden West when she's pulling her bow, there's a lot of shaking going on. They can remove all the extra nuanced shaking or whatever the case is, animations to get this shit to work. There's a lot of nipping and tucking that they can do to make that game work. So I'm not too surprised. But Sony's smart though because they showed Forbidden West after the whole cross generation debacle. To let them know like this is something that we can do. We are good with this shit. We in the upper echelon. Anyway, going on to the next subject or the last topic, second to last actually, is the gaming industry. We're not talking about fans this time around. We're talking about where are games going, and what this is kind of like a convoluted conversation because it doesn't seem like it's very precise. But with all this talk about gaming development being so much fucking more expensive, you need like fucking 400 people to make a fucking game. You need hundreds of millions of dollars to make a game, and you have microtransactions coming out of your butt cheeks, basically, in different ways, putting games on platforms where it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Where it typically wouldn't be. Ken, where do you think next generation is going? Where do you think this shit is going?
Um, I don't know. I mean, like, do you mean in
Like
terms of like the type of games that we're going to get,
the
or
type of games that we're going to get, if you
like what do you mean specifically?
like exactly what you said, the type of games that we're going to get, because we used to get games where either you're trying something new to stand out, or you're riding the coattails of certain things. And to be honest with you, either is extremely risky. You know what I'm saying? So developers are doing anything it fucking takes. They get their money, they get their bag.
I mean, I think we're gonna get more of the same shit that we're getting, man. I think we're gonna get a lot of service games. I think they're gonna lean more into that and microtransactions and stuff. I think we're going to see a lot more free to play games. um, you know, and whatnot. Uh,
Umar
I
seems
don't
to
know. I
think the
mean,
cloud.
I think we'll, obviously, I think that the cloud is going to have something to do with it, but I don't think it's going to be like the cloud. I think it's going to be more like a hybrid of the cloud. Like where you can I don't know, like where you can like what Microsoft is doing with xCloud, you know what I'm saying? Like where you can have their first party games or whatever they have in Game Pass streamed to your phone and stuff like that, right? And maybe that'll only work in particular situations or in certain parts of the country or world or whatever, right? But I think we are kind of leaning more towards that. Um, but I like I said, and I think it's going to be like a combination of like free to play games, live service, free to play games, and a little bit of cloud gaming and stuff like that. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think we're gonna get like some little like with Sony, we're gonna keep some of the single player games kind of sprinkled in there, and for the ones that we do get, obviously are probably gonna stand out from the rest of the games, but. For the most part, man, I think it's just we're gonna lean more and more and more into this live service free to play, and then eventually, or like right now, this hybrid cloud gaming, and then eventually, probably later on down the line, more cloud based gaming. So that's just what I think, though. I mean, I think that
I'm gonna interject here
you know,
and say what Umar is mentioning. Umar, I don't think you. I work in the telecommunications field. And I'm gonna straight up tell you the way that internet works in the United States is only around the fringes of the United States. Anything in the middle is fucking DSL
Hmm.
or worse. You just can't. I mean, people
Yeah.
that talk in the gaming industry about how good cloud is, Google Stadia, Lumina, or whatever the fucking case is, they live in New York or San Francisco. Ask that shit to somebody in Nebraska or Ohio.
Mm.
It is not plentiful as you think in terms of streaming, be it a cloud. Magnificent. Where do you think games are going?
Well, I agree strongly with some of the takes that Kim was talking about. Umar, as far as the is what you were talking about with Umar's comment, the infrastructure is in there right now. It's gonna be. I don't think in our lifetime we're gonna see a full a full cloud everything, man. The infrastructure is not
honestly,
there. We're gonna see
honestly,
partial because there is some infrastructure there. You know what I'm saying? There is some there. So we're gonna right now what we're seeing is partial, and some of them are they have an option for it, but we're not gonna see a total. That this is what they're gonna totally be doing an all cloud future for a while. It's gonna take some time. As far as innovation goes in the industry, man, I don't see any innovation anywhere outside of like these smaller teams that the indie studios. They're the ones that are gonna continue to provide us the innovative games, and we have to keep looking out for that. And then what I like is that Sony is they're giving opportunities to some of these smaller teams. Like I like that Housemart got a chance to share their vision with us because I love that game. Returnal's the shit. And I even like Microsoft giving chances to smaller teams that they gave a chance to the devs of the medium. That was a different take. They tried something new. Whether or not anybody liked the game, that's something else. But they tried something new, and I want to continue seeing that they
we'll
start
see the
investing more into
pool
these independent studios.
we'll see the pool of
Mhm.
if it can do better on the PlayStation. But go on, please.
Nah, but I mean, basically that's it. I think the big companies within the industry, EA and the rest of them, they're gonna continue the status quo. I'm hoping that for those people who enjoy the style of game, the what they call these games again? That everybody's playing the Fortnite. I hope they continue to enjoy those games, but I'm ready to see something else, man. I want it to die. I'm ready for those style games to die. I'm tired of them, man. I mean, I never liked them in the first place, but it feels like everybody's trying to do it, which is I feel is stagnant.
you
But
know what, man? I'm
mhm.
I'm wondering if and I kind of hate to say this, man, but I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm wondering if something like Game Pass is actually going to have like a bigger impact than we might think. You know what I'm saying? Where, um, Like, say for example, Microsoft is successful with Game Pass, and they have over 100 million people in their service, right?
And they're not successful. But go on.
Like that's actually like that's not something. Well, I'm just saying, like, just hypothetically speaking, right? Because right now it's still in its infancy, right?
Not really.
Like, what
But go
happens
on.
if Game Pass is successful?
It
You
won't
know what I
be.
mean? And like, whatever, like Game Pass it would be attractive to like smaller developers. You know what I'm saying? Who are trying to do like these unique, different experiences and stuff like that, right? And Microsoft can offer them, like say, hey, look, we got 100 million people over here, and we give you free reign to basically do whatever the fuck you want. Um, you know,
But you
and
don't.
I don't know, like I'm wondering if that's something that we might see like more often. You know what I mean? Like even Sony, like Sony's doing it a little bit. Like they're not doing it like Game Pass, like to that level, but they are kind of dabbling in like services and like giving people like more content and that type of shit that way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering if that's something that we're gonna see more. As we kind of go forward with the industry. You know what I mean?
You
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but
you can't just say giving out free games is the only thing that you need to do for a minimum cost. Because here's the thing about human nature. When it comes to human nature, there has to be some sort of attachment to something, some sort of commitment to something. And you committing to $70 or whatever the case is, right? The stakes are higher. You know what I'm saying? When that's one of the reasons why the PC fandom is different from the other fandoms. You know what I mean? Like they spent a lot of money and a lot of investment into that hardware, and they're like, "Yo, all my work paid off. I made this fucking bomb ass computer that nothing can touch. This shit was $2,000. I'll bust my ass for this shit." And that's gonna make people want to play because of the work. Contrary to belief, humans like to work in some capacity. It gives them a sense of accomplishment. If you take that shit away and you give things easy, it doesn't work. It gets boring very quickly. You know what I'm saying? I won't do it. I won't do it. Actually, I am going to do it.
yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say, right, is like, okay, so in terms of like the actual developers, and where they're coming from, like if something like Game Pass is successful, right, where developers see that kind of like structure to be like useful to them, then we could actually see like more games kind of go that route. Like we might see like a resurgence of like indie games and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the hardware now,
are you just
because
playing
like
devil advocate? Is
especially
that what
like
you're doing?
with
Or do you have any kind of proof
no,
of
I'm
this?
just saying like no, because I'm seeing that we're kind of moving more towards this like free to play kind of thing, right? Where you see a lot of indie developers make you see a lot of innovation in indie developers, and what happens if, for example, Game Pass is successful where their model is attractive to indie developers, you know what I'm saying? And that's where they go, and Microsoft can offer them a thing where it's like, yeah, you could do whatever the fuck you want because we have 100 million people in our service that you could put your game in front of, you know what I'm saying? And we could support that because we actually have the revenue to support your quote unquote innovative idea. You know what I'm saying?
Umar mentioned
So I'm
something.
wondering if we're gonna have like a resurgence.
Umar mentioned something, and I'm gonna double on to what he mentioned. Hey, Game Pass has been out since 2017 and really hasn't moved the needle until they start offering that bitch for $1. And even when they offered the shit for $1, people tried it. It was like, meh. Sony has basically had PlayStation Plus on PS3. The price of admission was too high, and they forced people to buy it, which is one of the reasons why people kind of gravitate for the free games. And firstly to play games on multiplayer, and secondly, you know what I'm saying. And that's another thing too. You gotta look at the statistics, which is what Sony did. People buy PlayStation Plus, which is a subscription service for the multiplayer, because it's behind that paywall. Second, it's the free games, and then everything else comes afterwards. You can't just say here's free and think somebody's just gonna get it. Like, I will never eat liver. You can't offer that shit to me. I don't give a fuck what it is, or if you even pay me. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. Just because it's free doesn't mean
Yeah,
you're
I
gonna
think
take
that's
the
going to
shit.
change though. I do. I think that's going to change a little bit, because
It won't change because
and it might not
again,
be right away
why? Okay, let me ask you. Why do you think it's going to change?
because I actually think that they're going to start having compelling content that people are actually going to want to play. You know what I'm saying?
And
Because right now, Game Pass is contingent on the success of their first party studios, right? They're not getting much support from third party because it just doesn't make any fucking sense for them to do it, you know? So right now, like say for example, later on when their first party studios start putting out stuff that actually looks good and people actually want to play, like then the value proposition is fucking infinitely better, but now you have access to it for a cheaper price. And then when you start getting people kind of to your service, then you start getting people in the industry that say, okay, damn, 50 million people, 60 million people, the fuck, maybe it might be worth it to put my game in your service. You know what I'm saying? I
just
don't
because
know.
just because you get the
I'm just
subscribers
saying,
don't mean that you're going to, like, Disney is having a very hard time keeping people. It is a fleeting service. People will leave at the drop of a fucking hat, and it's just not guaranteed money. So you have to be conservative at all times. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I really would appreciate that. I really, 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 really will appreciate that. It really helps the channel. The thing about it is, you saying triple A, this nigga, triple A games is the reason why people even buy games and go on PlayStation Plus. It's not because of free games. I'm telling you about this shit. Like I said, the investment of buying a fucking game for $60, $70 is different from just getting something handed to you. Human nature defies this all the time. Free is good temporarily, you know what I'm saying? But if you didn't earn the shit, it's something that's fleeting. You'd be less likely to be like, all right, I'm going to keep it because there's nothing at stake. Just as easy as you go, easy come, easy go. That's the problem with the situation. That's tried and true. Easy come, easy go.
but people still like free shit.
Easy come,
The word.
easy go. The thing is, you can get all the subscribers one day and do something fucked up. They find out, the CEO said that this dude's a fag. Oh no, we're gonna just leave all this shit, fucking 60 million down the drain instantly because of outrage, right? That's it. Easy come, easy go. And then what are you going to proposition to these developers? You had 120, and now you have 60 million just like that because you said some fucked up shit. And people are playing Fortnite, right? Because of the investment of the console itself, and because of the thing. I believe, like what Magnificent was saying, eventually that shit's going to be done. Too many people are doing it, and it gets boring over time. You can look at YouTubers. They eventually just start dropping off. It could be real big, and you just eventually start dropping off until you do something different. Game Pass and anything like Game Pass, whether it be PlayStation Now, it's dangerous for the industry. It is super dangerous for the industry.
Mark Cerny.
Mark Cerny, bars.
No, I
Bars,
actually
nigga.
agree with that, man.
It's dangerous.
I actually do.
It
Some
takes
extent,
away
believe that,
innovation.
you know what I'm saying?
It takes away innovation. It takes away risk. You're like, oh fuck, you know what? I don't really want to risk the shit, so I'm gonna be safe as a motherfucker and do it because it's free. Microsoft has given Bleeding Edge free, and if Game Pass was so good, why the fuck is it coming out on the PS5? I thought people were playing it.
Yeah, but then what about what about games like Sea of Thieves though? Because that game is incredibly popular.
But for what reason and how long?
And Forza Horizon 4.
But for what reason
Huh?
and how long?
For what reason and how long?
You realize that Forza is not the Forza Horizon. That's not a free game.
Yeah, but it's not free, but it's available in Game Pass though.
But Game
And
Pass
so is
didn't
Sea
get
of Thieves.
Game Pass
Sea of
didn't-
Thieves just
That's Sea of Thieves is a different story. So let's go back to what you just said. what do you call it? Forza Horizon. People paid for that. The numbers that they have for Forza Horizon, it was already high before that whole Game Pass shit. And don't forget that some shit gets cycled in anyway. So in terms of Sea of Thieves, there are a lot of popular games that are like those particular games that you have to go out and do. What did you say?
I was talking about Forza Horizon 4 because that's the most relevant one. That game dropped day one in Game Pass because Game Pass was available back in 2017, and Forza Horizon 4 released what in 2018, I want to say. Maybe it was 2019. I'm not sure, but it dropped day one in Game Pass, just like the other
Game
ones.
Pass wasn't like
Um,
crazy popular, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, Game Pass wasn't crazy popular too, like last year. It didn't have the subscribers that it had before. So how could you explain that then?
Sorry, you cut out for a second. You said Game Pass was a popular one.
Yeah, you cut out for a second.
He's doing a little biting right now.
Who, me?
No, I was talking to Ken. Ken's biting a little bit.
Yeah, yo, my freaking internet's on red, yo.
Oh, damn.
What did you say, man? I didn't catch what you said.
I said Game Pass started to pop in 2019, and it didn't have the subscribers that it had before. So explain its success if they just started promoting Game Pass like crazy.
What Forza Horizon 4 success?
Correct.
I guess I don't understand your question.
That's it. When Forza, you said that Forza Horizon 4 was released day and date in 2000 and what?
I forgot what year it was. I think it was like 2018 or 2019 or some shit.
All right, fine. 2018-19. Game Pass wasn't really pushed into like 2019 and 20. So it was a whole year and had less subscribers when it first was released on Game Pass. Less subscribers. People wasn't really about it until they start getting these big titles. And then explain fucking MLB The Show. People are still buying that
About
game.
being more popular.
People are still buying it on Xbox. That doesn't guarantee your game to be successful. There are certain games that are going to be successful.
Yeah, that's where I was going with my comment. Like, because you brought up Bleeding Edge. Like Bleeding Edge is like it's dead now, right? But it was a shitty game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, can you really attribute its success or failure to Game Pass alone? It's like,
It's the social.
but then you look
social elements. It's the social elements of Sea of Thieves that makes that happen.
yeah, absolutely.
It's a certain type a certain type of social element, this is what would happen if they try to replicate Sea of Thieves. You're gonna get a whole bunch of the same games to try to get that success.
Yeah, I agree.
So
and that's kind of why I feel like
where's the innovation if everyone's going to be chasing a certain design to get money?
I never said it was going to be innovative.
I never said you said it. I'm just saying it.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of innovation because I think what it is if and like I said earlier, this is like hypothetically speaking, right? If they're able to get Game Pass successful like they really want to, right? I think we're going to see a lot of those type of I think we're going to see a lot of indie developers kind of gravitating towards that, because they have access to a large group of people, right? I think we're going to see that. But I also, like I said, think we're going to see more like live service free to play, which is what we're seeing with games like Sea of Thieves and Forza Horizon. Like Forza Horizon 3 didn't have any live service elements, right? It was Forza Horizon 4 when it dropped in Game Pass day and one that shit started adding a whole bunch of live service shit, and it worked. I mean, it's popular. It's a popular fucking game. They have like over 20 million people.
The type of games that you play that are successful are games you could just kind of dilly dally in the game world. You don't have to think about anything. You can just play at your own pace, and it's just an environment, basically.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves is
yeah,
like that.
and that.
And in Forza, you drive around the way that you do. But what I'm saying is this: you have a certain type of game design that only works in that particular subscription. And what Sony is trying to do is to lure you into their ecosystem by creating AAA games. And then you can do whatever. Once you're in there, then there's other games, which is why Fall Guys and all this other stuff was successful. People are waiting for the next big game, but while they're waiting, in between these particular time frames, they can play stuff like that. So there's a certain system.
Yeah.
You gotta. It's not easy. You just can't throw shit at people and think they're going to take it. It don't work that way. There's a thought process behind this shit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I do feel like though, like that whole thing about, Xbox or whatever Game Pass just doesn't have anything to offer. I don't think that's gonna last. You know what I'm saying? I think, even if it's not with AAA games, I don't really necessarily, because a lot of people think that, Game Pass needs a whole slate of like AAA games. Like I don't really think that's the case. I think if they have games that are just good, like say whatever Hellblade, like if that shit came out and that was good and that was available day one in Game Pass, like that's going to be attractive to people. You know what I'm saying?
Microsoft doesn't have the
And
capacity.
then
Microsoft doesn't have the capacity to do it. They show time and time again that they're unable to do anything that is just I wouldn't even say innovative. That is creative. Put it that way.
we'll have to wait and see on that one, man, because now they just got all
4 years. 4 years of Game Pass. They have not done anything but try to throw games at this service and offer it for $1. Instead of worrying about the quality of their games, they relied on some other people existing things. You can't just throw shit out there and think that shit's going to work. Sony does things strategically with their PlayStation Plus. Or I'm not going to go to now because that's some other thing. But like PlayStation Plus, they strategically put certain games out there, and they space their shit out. It's just as they do it, they have it. Like for instance, Jemiah says this: 2.3 people beat the Hive Busters, even when it's free. It's free in 2% of the 18 million people, potential players. 2%.
That's a damn shame.
That is a shame.
But hey, you know what? It's probably because the fucking co-op doesn't work, bro.
Maybe instead of getting baseball games, you should work on the fucking games that you already have on the damn system. Did you ever think about that, Microsoft? Did that ever come across your mind anytime, anywhere? You didn't fix Halo. That shit's still broken. You didn't even fix your AAA games. They don't give a fuck about their AAA games. They only give a fuck about the games that are going to sell. That's it. That's the only things that they care. 5 years for Game Pass. That's the only thing that they care about. That's the only thing they care about.
So what are you gonna say when Hellblade 2 drops and that shit's fire as fuck?
It won't be, because Microsoft is telling them how to make their games. Microsoft is literally telling them how to make their game. Even King Push. Even if that's the case, they don't know how to manage. This is why I say they're not capable. They don't know how to manage their fucking games. They don't know how to manage it. They don't know how to fucking manage their own shit. And they don't care. They're only going to focus on Minecraft, Sea of Thieves, and fucking Forza. And if it was Halo, they're about to kick that shit to the curb because that lost its mojo. They don't give a fuck about that shit. They were going to release that shit raggedy as shit. They were going to kick that shit raggedy, and you take it just because it has Master Chief on it. They're not capable of doing things creatively. They are really about the bag. If you want to look at the definition of somebody that's about the bag, it's Microsoft. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care. I know corporations don't care, but they really don't. They don't need you with the trillions of dollars that they have. They don't need you. And so the quality shows. Sony kind of needs you. They kind of need you. Microsoft, nah, they don't give a fuck. We just want to make sure that
I think what they're trying to do is replicate the success of games like Minecraft. You know what I'm saying?
That's all they care about because it's residual. And I don't want to rag on Microsoft, but it is what it is. It is what it is. They don't give a fuck. They just want to stop Sony from encroaching on their fucking finances. That's all the Xbox has ever been about. They didn't want Sony to go into their PC places. That's all they care about. That's it. That's the difference between Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft. Nintendo and Sony, it's not that they care about you that much. They need you. So they have to do right by you. Microsoft does not need you. They shut this shit down tomorrow and won't even feel it. You may make more money by shutting the bitch down. We don't gotta waste money on this raggedy ass shit. Just saying. It is what it is. I wanted to tell you guys, thank you guys for sticking in here so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. On this panel, we had Ken and we had Magnificent Black. Well, Ken the Dishonorable and Magnificent Black. We actually, me and Ken, have a podcast that's called the PlayStation Culture, which will be there tomorrow at 7. So definitely be there. That's more PlayStation centric than anything. We're going to go to our last topic, which is not gaming related and kind of world news. And we're only going to do this for 10 minutes, all right? This is what we'll do. Gives you a flavor of who we are as people. And the subject is this, and I'm going to get Magnificent into this. I noticed something in 2021 that it is hard to be a guy. It is difficult to be a man. We just get shitted on left and right. We're dumb. We're bumbling. We're sex obsessed. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. We're perverts. We're evil. We're horrible creatures. Every time I look at something, it's always about how bad we are. And it's rough. It's rough to me. I just wanted to get this shit out while we have the 10 minutes that we have. Do you feel that way, Magnificent, walking out? A little bit? No?
I mean, when you're on social media, bro, things are kind of like a bubble, I would say. And even the media, if we cut off TV, bro, do people really feel that way about men in general? I mean, people are expressing shit on social media. It's like you said, it's all gonna be focused there. So
Alex.
when people they say shit that they normally wouldn't say, they'll say it on social media. So if that's what you're getting from social media or even TV, that's where it's gonna be focused at, bro. You know what I'm saying? But everyday people ain't afraid about the shit that we're seeing on social media, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when the people who don't use those mediums, the Twitters, the Facebooks, and Instagram or whatever,
But
man. I think sometimes we get a little. I mean, I know what you're talking about, bro.
Because I'm
partially
at
agree
work.
with you
I'm at work.
with the shit.
Because you work in the type of same field that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we can't. It's bad to be a dude. You know, you got the toxic masculinity. They keep talking about that shit. We're so horrible. You know, and it's like my job shits on me for being a man. You know, and they exalt women. You know, women are so much better than men. You know what I mean? I don't have nothing to bring to the fucking table. It's just, to me, that's kind of like, it's weird to me. It's weird to me that when I look, I'm just casually minding my own business on TV, and you got one a day, right? And they put the woman vitamin first. And I was like, okay. And then you have another commercial where the guy is just saying some stupid shit. You know what? I want to find a place to get a hotel, just like Hotels.com. And the wife is like, you mean Hotels.com? No, I mean like a place where you can get discounts, like Hotels.com. Go to bed, Tom. Like, it's just little things like that. And it's like, we're not stupid. You know, it's just, to me, it's hard to be. And even, you know, the funny thing is, I'm going to defend him. The guy. Oh, hell no. Chill. Cross. I'll get into that. I mean, people are equally assholes. People are equally assholes. You know what I'm saying? Like, That's you got me all fucked up reading that comment. But um, they talk about toxic masculinity and shit like that. You just can't be
Mm.
assertive. You can't do anything. Like everything a guy do. If you're competitive, you're an asshole. You know what I'm saying? If you act anything like a man, if you go to the gym and work out, you're an asshole as well. If I want to fucking drink a beer, you're lazy and an asshole. If I want to look at a woman, if Josh in his bag, shut up. If I want to look at a woman and say, "Damn, girl, you fine," I'm an asshole automatically, automatically. But they can have a football commercial, Super Bowl commercial about a woman ogling Michael B. Jordan for like 2.5 minutes. Could you imagine if that shit was flopped on the other side? You remember when Michael B. Jordan was like an artificial intelligence and the husband was like basically
Yeah,
being
yeah.
cucked? What are you doing?
Alexa, yeah.
You
I
remember that
remember
shit,
that.
right? And she's like, oh, Jesus. And she's looking at him. He's out in the rain and shit like that. And he's asking her shit.
Yo,
They objectified him.
yo, I remember that commercial, yo.
If we
Oh
did
my
that
That shit
same
god.
was a
thing
funny commercial though.
if we did that same thing to a
It
woman,
wouldn't fly.
bro,
Nah, it wouldn't fly.
it will be fucking pitchforks all the way down the fucking street, man, and beyond. That's what I don't get. It's not about the woman. It's not about the woman. I chuckled at that commercial. I thought it was funny. But it's about how just perception. Like when I'm working and I'm just doing my job and shit like that, they're like, "Oh, sexual harassment is it's always the man as the antagonist when they talk about sexual harassment. Always. Always. What about the girl that cut my ass? You damn nigga, you been working out and she cut my ass. Now if I would have went to HR, I've been a bitch. A whole bitch. Nigga, you not even
Gosh,
a
you know what
man.
it
You
is,
get
bruh.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like she fucking grabbed my whole ass.
Gosh, they tired of being cucked. They want to do the cucking, dog. They trying to give us the treatment that they had, dog, for all these years. So
Yo, wait, you said
the
that that
same way
happened to
that
you?
you
Yeah,
discussing,
that really
they
happened
had
to
that.
me.
They went through the same shit, bro.
That
Yeah, man. And we supposed to take that shit. We go to report that shit to HR. Then you know what I'm saying.
they be like, we'll get
I've
on it,
been in that
nigga.
shit
Get
for
the fuck
years,
out the
nigga.
office. We'll get
You
on
know
it.
what I'm saying? They'll laugh at your ass. Like,
They
I used
laugh
to
at
do
you.
that type.
they'll laugh at you, dog.
I used to do that type of shit at some some of my old jobs, yo.
Do what?
Like,
Grabbing a bitch
I
ass?
remember, yeah,
I'm
Don't show your
Thank you
yeah,
for
because
face.
the time.
I just played it off though. Like I remember because I used to work in a fast food place, right? And obviously we had like flour and dust and stuff like that for the food, right? So what I did was I was like, yo, you got something on the back of your pants?
And you would dust the shit
And
off?
yeah, and I dusted the back of her pants. That's corny, but whatever, man. It's
You
she
know,
liked it though. She's like, ooh.
and I want to say something too, right? And Ken and I have long hair and shit like that, right? I was just talking. I was in one of my team meetings and shit like that. I'm sitting down and I'm talking to her and I'm like, yeah, my stats. I wish I could do this. And she leans in. She was like, oh, and she gets her sensual voice. Is that your real hair? Fuck yeah. And she's like, oh, because you have this one little strand right here. Let me go get it real quick. Oh, that is your hair. I thought you had your girl's hair in your head. You are single, right? I mean, you are taken, right? I was like, I didn't mind it. Don't get it fucked up. Don't get it twisted. She did get fucked. But what I'm saying is that I wouldn't be able to do this shit. That's all I'm saying. That shit would be instant sexual harassment. That's all I'm saying. And it's a shame. That's all I'm saying. It's toxic masculinity. It's toxic femininity as well. It's toxic every fucking thing. I just wish that things were more balanced or equal. You know what I'm saying? Y'all still there?
Yeah, yeah.
Y'all come quiet, niggas. But I
Yeah,
did. You know
I'm
what I'm
trying not to
saying?
eat in your ear.
Oh, okay. I just wish honestly that things were a little bit more balanced. You know what I'm saying? You can do what you're gonna do, but like don't say that we're horrible people. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm asking for. That's really it. That's really it. You know, there was this one. The funny thing about it is, and I'll leave you guys with this shit. Here was a situation where a girl, her car broke down, and a guy saw her and he pulled over, and this was like in front of like a 7-Eleven or something like that. And she's like, "Oh my god, my car is like fucked up and stuff like that. I can't believe this." And he, you know, he got the jack and he fixed their car and stuff like that. And she was like, "Oh my god, what is your name?" He said, "I was John," and stuff like that. She was like, "I really want to give you like a gift or something like that. That is so nice." And she hugs him. All of a sudden, yo, the police was at his door about a week ago talking about some you raped her. And he
What?
didn't understand what the fuck happened. And it was like, this girl said that you raped her. And he didn't even know what to do. It turns out that the 7-Eleven had a camera pointing at the street, which showed the whole situation, how she drove off and he helped her and everything. And the funny thing is, right, even though she completely lied about this shit, she did not get sentenced at all. Don't do it again, bitch. That's all they told her. And we could have fucked his whole life up, fired and everything. And they want to sit there and talk about toxic masculinity. These women nowadays are using that shit, and they know that they got the power at this point in time, and they're running with it. They're running with it.
Yeah, I remember this one story, man, where this dude he didn't do anything at all, man, and this girl accused him of rape, man, and he went to jail for like 20 years. And you know, he was just obviously he was like, "Yeah, I didn't do it. I'm innocent. Like I literally didn't touch this fucking girl." You know what I'm saying? And then they sent them away for 20 fucking years, man. And then 20 years later, they found out that she lied about the whole thing. Fucked his whole life up, man. Couldn't get a job. You know, obviously he was a felon and all that for sexual assault and whatnot. And they did nothing to this chick, man. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Same thing happened with this guy. It's an Indian dude. He's just sitting there chilling and stuff like that, and these white girls going to him. "Oh my god, I think you're so hot. Where's your dorm room?" So he's like, "All right, cool." He does it, or whatever the case is. They're hanging on them. They're doing a little thrusting pump thing behind them, and of course, they have cameras. So he sit there, smashed her, or whatever the case is, and he, you know, and she left, and she woke up. "Oh my god, I can't believe I let this Indian have sex with me. All I smelled was curry. Oh my god." So she called the cops, and he was immediately ejected from his school. You know he Indian. You know he had banging grades. Instantly ejected from his fucking school. Lost his scholarship within a fucking week. Turns out she lied, and they pulled the cameras. So he had to get back into the fucking school again, and they told once again, "Don't do it again, bitch." And that was the end of it. But men are toxic. That's all I'm saying. It's not about the girl situation. It's about making men look like shit. That's all. That's been on my mind. That's been on my mind. But we are going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for
Hold on, hold
watching.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Man, I just want to say one thing. Plug for my nigga Josh here. Hey, man, if y'all like the shit that Josh talking about, man, this little in 10 minute session that we talking about real life shit. You know what I'm saying? Current event shit. This nigga stream every day, so y'all can come through and check this nigga stream out. He always streams every fucking day. He got little sessions for each game, but he streams every night. So if y'all up like around 9 o'clock to when you be streaming like fucking 2, 3 o'clock in the morning,
3
this
o'clock
man's
in the morning.
streaming and he be talking about some crazy shit. It get wild. Y'all come check it out, man. Jemiah always there. Jemiah was like there before me. Jeremy be showing up sometimes. Crosshairs be showing up. Yeah, man, y'all come through, man. He always stream, man. You know what I'm saying? He want to be a little malignant bitch. He don't want to plug himself, so I'll do it for him. Y'all make sure to come through check this nigga streams out. But that's all I gotta say, man. Hey, good talk with y'all niggas and everything, man. Shit was dope.
I appreciate that,
Yeah,
Larry.
man.
I really
Yo,
do
Josh,
appreciate it.
you got some fucking ADHD when it comes to streaming games, yo. I'll see you streaming one game and then like 30 minutes later you jump into a different one. I'm like, damn.
I want the different flavors and shit, yo. I'm polyamorous when it comes to my games. You know, that's why Celine from fucking Returnal be pissed off at me and shit. Give me horrible rolls. She know I'm trying to play something else. She's like, you fuck with that Aloy, bitch. You fuck with Aloy, aren't you? I told you. You mad about my eyes. One color is different. That's what it is. Just because she got that red bacon strip. That's what it is. Well, anyway, guys, thank you, and take care, guys.
Make sure you like, share, subscribe.
That
Right.
button.